Here?
I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, so up north.
Oh, very windy. Last month I were there. I love traveling.
Yeah.
Go here and there. Beautiful.
Born and raised, a place called Marin, which is like right over the bridge. If you've been any extensive trip in San Francisco, people will talk about it.
Yeah.
It's also overpriced because it's California.
Did anyone do an open house yesterday?
I did it yesterday and the day before,
Great.
and no one came.
No, you're kidding.
Neither day.
You're kidding.
No, I was
Not
also,
one person?
and it was also, it was in the valley, which was
Okay.
fine, but it was also like a good price and it was very large.
Did you have signs out?
Yeah, I had a lot of signs out. I also wasn't the only person posting and still no one came.
That's great.
It's also priced well. It is pretty good. It's like a track neighborhood, it's still like priced lower than everything else.
What do you think the issue is?
No, she was in, seller was in escrow 12 months ago, but it was the top end. She told me this, the agent told me it was the buyer's very top end for their budget and they got cold feet and pulled out like 2 days into escrow. And so they just put it back on maybe a month ago, but it's also priced well comparatively. Like I looked at the comps in that whole, it's humongous, like 7-tract neighborhood or community. And it's like one of the biggest models, it's priced the best, everyone else is priced higher or overpriced, and it's just weird. I don't know what the problem might be, besides maybe like it's not private enough, but also like if you're interested in a tract home, you're kind of used to having neighbors. Where?
Who's listening?
Her name's Jenny Clark.
You know,
She lives in
that's a
San.
marketing issue.
It could be, I don't know, yeah, I don't know how she's marketed it. I got connected with her through someone else in this at KW. I don't know if he's in this office or if he's in like a Valley office, but
That makes sense.
it was nice, like if I could take the house and plop it literally anywhere else, like I would buy it. And keep the price, obviously. Great, I was like, wow, and it's like 3,000 square feet,
Yeah.
4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms.
Where's that?
Santa Clarita.
Okay.
So I said if I could take it, keep the price and plop it anywhere, do a few deals, use my boyfriend's salary like afford that.
My daughter just rented
So the way that you're gonna do that.
Sunday today, a 2-bedroom, Beverly Wood, $4,500. It's so expensive.
Yeah, our rent is 33.50 and we're in East Hollywood. And that's not a house, that's an apartment. It's just LA.
Oh, it's an apartment, hers an apartment.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
It is, and it's
You know, the-
gross. It is gross. And that's why I sad.
It's getting expensive. When she went to University of Miami,
Mm,
the rental there was like decent, and now
yeah,
it's like
So we go over all the basics.
next.
The instruction for
You need to know.
Which
the
It's only getting harder.
basics. Same thing over and over and over. That's all. Flyers.
It's a problem, like,
It's the
the
same
people
thing
have
over and
the
over.
money to spend.
Whatever feels.
So what time should I meet you?
Everybody.
33.
Yeah.
So specifically,
It's a tenant.
so you basically you need to know the buyer process,
The worst thing because.
you know.
some aspect buyers, but I don't know what should I do.
Okay.
Once they
We're
say.
gonna show them.
Number 3. If they don't want.
So you're gonna show your buyer's property until they find something they like.
I'll be here at 10.
You know?
Bells
Right.
Christmas.
Send me your copy. Oh,
I'm not sure.
okay, all right, well, we're gonna talk about that.
For $2,000.
Logically, I think the classes for the starters should be different for the tenure, for knowledgeable and season 1. I'm not sure. It's just my idea.
Okay, so I am here to help you scrap.
I love it. Yeah, I love everything from start to finish.
So
Yeah.
whenever you learn something that's new, it's gonna take you at least 3 months all in to grasp any new topic, right? So I'm gonna be talking about California Association of Realtors, National Association of Realtors, the MLS, zip forms, like all these different terms, right? And you're gonna be lost. That's totally natural. Because you're dealing with all these new things you don't know about. What's gonna happen is after you're coming to the classes and I'm showing you the step by step things that I'm doing it. Things are gonna start to click. And then I would say 3 months in. Things are gonna jump. Yeah, that's just how it is, because there's so many different concepts you're being exposed to and so many different things. So, but I just really want to take it down to basics, all right? So the basic is you're taking a buyer to see a property. They're falling in love with it, hopefully, writing an offer. And then you're going to inspect the property to find out what it is that they actually are buying. And then they need to put their money in it. They need to put their money in escrow. The lender needs to put their money in escrow. And then you close escrow and you do it. So that's the basic. Now we have to fill in all the thousand pieces that go into the front. All right, so today's class is win the buyer. All right, well, this is an important class because buyers now have to sign buyer rep agreements, which is a new phenomenon. We've always had buyer representation agreements, but now with the new NAR settlement, you can't show a buyer a property until they sign something. So, you know, what does a buyer have to sign? So here's the new world now. There's 3-4 things that can be signed. When a buyer walks into an open house now, there's going to be a form called an OHNA. It's an open house non-agency. We're not police. We're not insisting that people sign something when they walk in. But we're not allowed to talk about the property with them unless they do sign something. So there was this big NAR settlement, lawsuits. What happened in the lawsuits? It all started with bad contracts in Missouri. That's where it all started. An attorney decided to do a class action lawsuit. Anyways, it ended up settling. So there's an old way of doing things and a new way of doing things. The old way of doing things was that a broker would sign a listing for the whole commission, whatever the seller was going to pay. And then the listing broker would share the commission with the buyer. That's the old way that has been eliminated across the United States, no more. What happens now is when you sign a listing with a seller at the time of taking the listing, you are only going to get paid for your listing side commission. That's all that's happening now. Sellers pay the listing broker, and buyers now pay the buyer's broker. Now, buyers may be like, what the heck's going on here? I have to pay? So yes, it's been separated. Sellers pay the listing broker, buyers pay the buyer's broker. Now, when you write the offer, when the buyer writes their offer, there's a lot of terms in an offer. The price, how long is escrow, how much money they're putting down, how much they're borrowing, how long do they have for their appraisal, how long do they have to get their loan approval. The other thing that the buyer is requesting is that the seller pay their obligation to pay their broker, right? So if I am representing a buyer and you have a listing, you already are secured in what you've asked your seller to pay on your listing side. So when you see your listing, you ask the seller to pay you, say, 2.5% commission, right? You're guaranteed 2.5% as the seller's broker. Now I have my own buyer that I'm signing a buyer rep agreement with for 2.5. I'm going to, when I write my offer, when the buyer writes their offer, I'm going to ask the seller to pay my buyer's 2.5%. The buyer is the one writing the offers. They're the one asking that the seller pay for their obligation to pay me. That's what's happening. Now, when a buyer walks into a property, they're going to be asked to sign something. It's a sign-in sheet, but the sign-in sheet now says, I, as the agent at this open house, am here to represent the seller. Anything you say to me can be told to the seller. So if a buyer walks in a property and I'm the agent at the property, and a buyer walks in and says, you know, I've been looking for a long time. We were in escrow twice, we backed out. They're telling me they've just backed out on deals. Like, do I want to accept an offer from them? Like, I'm afraid they're gonna back out, right? I could tell my seller, you know, we're getting an offer from this buyer. They told me they backed out on 2 deals, by the way. So it's putting the buyer on notice that walks in that the agent at the property is there for the benefit of the seller. Now, when you do an open house, you're actually there probably to pick up a buyer, right? So it's just a form. It says, I'm here to represent the seller. Now, if the buyer walks in and says, I want you to represent me, there's gonna be other forms present. There's gonna be something called a property showing agreement, and there's gonna be the buyer representation agreement, which they're more than welcome to sign. Obviously, we want them to. But those forms are gonna ask them to agree to pay you a commission. They're hiring you, right? So today's class is about winning the buyer to select you as their agent to represent them, to be their agent. So win the buyer. Now this Ignite course is taught in every Keller Williams. This is C 2024. This is brand new. And basically, you know, they've gone through to make sure everything is compliant with the new settlement, new lawsuit. So regarding me, I'm the training director for this. So I'm here to help anyone that has questions. I can help you with offers. I can help you with agreements. So I've been licensed for 20 years, 18 years. I've had my broker's license. I've been in this office for 12. I love contracts. I was blessed in 22 to have been the top 1.5% in California based on transaction volume. But I decided to step back a little bit and do some training here, which I love to do. I'm a tech guy. I love tech. All right, so here are the classes that really matter. Everything matters, but like these are the classes that are going over the entire process of buying and selling, just being an agent. So the whole listing process, right? We're going over the listing process, the buyer process, going through escrow. What is title? What is a lender? What is so we have a class just on that. There's a class on zip forms and transaction files. This is how to get to the contracts that we use every day, how to keep organized. Then I'm going to have 2 classes on the residential purchase agreement. So someone who writes an offer, it's going to be on residential purchase agreement. This is the most important class probably in everything, because in order to write a counter offer, which is the next class after that, you need to know what's on the purchase agreement to look for what to counter. This makes sense. So this is the residential purchase agreement is the most important agreement to get right and negotiate your transaction upfront. And that's the next class is going to be countering it. So, which is a natural class, because if you're familiar with the RPA, I can promise you that after you do the RPA class, you'll know more than most agents do about the RPA, because I really dissect it. Then I have a class on comps, how to do comps. Every day we do comps. So if we're going to write an offer, we need to figure out what the property is worth. If we're going on a listing appointment, you know, we want to make sure we don't overprice the property. We need to know what it's worth. So we're always doing comps. There's a little glitch in the MLS right now, which I'm not happy with, about the way I do comps. I don't know. We'll get there when we get there, but like, what can I say? Something's wrong with the MLS. They're not supporting something with the comps, but I will figure it out and I will show you how I did it. Okay, buyer consultation. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Today's version is the Keller Williams version, Ignite. But we talked about going on your buyer appointment, getting the buyer to sign a buyer representation agreement. And then we have a class on the listing presentation. So that means you going to a property to list it, right? You're meeting with a potential seller, and getting them to sign a listing agreement. We have a class on disclosures. So if you have a listing and a buyer writes an offer and that offer gets accepted, your seller now has to disclose everything that they know about the property. So that's gonna be done on the TDS and the SPQ, which are the transfer disclosure statement, seller property questionnaire, and a ton of other disclosures. The reason that these two are singled out is because these two forms specifically ask a lot of questions to the seller where they have to check boxes and answer questions. Most of the other disclosures are just boilerplate. They take a signature and initial, but those two, the TDS and SVQ, actually get filled out. So we're gonna focus on those. Doing inspections. So if you write an offer on a property that gets accepted, you need to help your buyer schedule inspections. We'll be there for that. And then after you do your inspections, you're now, by Jerry. After you do inspections, you're now gonna be aware of things that you were not previously aware of. Right? So there's gonna be a negotiation, probably. The buyer is gonna say, whoa, I didn't know that I had to do $50,000 in foundation work. So now you're gonna have a negotiation with the seller. All right, and then I have two classes, either one or two, probably two classes on leases. Because we do leasing. And you can have a situation also where a seller stays in the property after close of escrow, which will be a lease back. The seller stays. Escrow closes, your buyer doesn't move in yet because the seller needs a few days or a week or two. So that's called a lease back. All right, and then I have classes which are taught out of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book.
Are these on Zoom as well or only in person?
Thank you. That's the book right there, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. So that's the book that Gary Keller wrote in the late 80s. So all of my personal classes are in here and on Zoom.
They are on Zoom.
My classes are on Zoom, yes.
Great. And today is not Wednesday or Thursday.
Right.
But this is still your class, right?
These are my classes. So I do Ignite on Mondays. That's this class. This is the Keller Williams version. And then on Wednesdays and Thursdays, generally I will do these classes. So it's continuous. It's 12 or 13 classes that just are on a continuous cycle.
Are your Zoom links on the virtual site? Cause I didn't see it last week.
So
Is there nothing last week?
nothing on Thursdays.
Okay,
So right now we're doing Bold.
yeah,
So Bold is Keller Williams culture. When a Keller Williams office has Bold going on, there's no classes scheduled the day of Bold.
okay.
It's in our
So it'll turn back on and go back to you.
Yes,
Copy.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so additionally, either Wednesday or Thursday, I'm gonna be doing one of these classes. It's been on Thursday. I've been doing it Wednesday now because Bold is going on. So I've been adding this to Wednesday, but traditionally these will be on Thursday. And we just did crafting your pitch, your elevator pitch. So we're gonna probably talk about work your sphere on Wednesday. All right, there's a lot of disclaimers here. This is new stuff that was just added. Just be careful when you're calling. Don't call anyone on the do not call list. We're not allowed to. So basically, there's no commissions being advertised anymore in the MLS. That's nationwide. We can talk about commissions everywhere, not in the MLS. So. Negotiating commissions are not set, so we need to just tell people commissions are negotiable. Our California contracts have always been awesome. Our California contracts have always said commissions are negotiable. It's always been in bold. It's always said to the seller, this is your commission. This is how much we're gonna share with the listing, with the cooperating broker, the buyer's broker. The issue was not here in California. It was with other states that weren't clear. Because the Department of Justice wanted there to be, wanted to have general rules, they have to institute rules for the whole United States. So even though we were basically, I don't want to say punished, but our way of doing things was changed because of other states that weren't doing what we were doing. So that's what happened. But the commissions are negotiable. We want more. Okay, when sending commercial email messages, you have to comply, there has to be an opt-out feature on emails. If you're gonna send a mass email out, an email blast, there has to be something to opt out. I would say if you're gonna send out a blast email, do it through KW command. So we have something called KW command, which is our portal for agents. You get there by going to agent.kw.com. I'm just gonna log in real quick, I'll show you. So agent.kw.com will take you to our command login. When you go to the settings portion, there's gonna be something down here for email. And command email is what we're talking about. So right now it says the official email provider of command includes 5,000 free email sends per month. So you can send 5,000 emails per month. If you're gonna do an email blast, you're gonna use campaigns. So this is our tech. I do tech on Fridays. I have a Friday class just for technology. I want you guys to have your website set up, use command. There's something here called smart plans. A smart plan is putting people on a continuous email campaign, text campaign, call campaign. It's so we keep in touch with our clients. That's a smart plan. A campaign is a one-off. So you would use a campaign to send like an email blast, one email blast out. When you do it through this, I'm just going to show you manage. I'm going to press manage here. Okay. What happens here is when you're setting up your email to do an email blast, you can set your name and you can also set the reply to email. So it's the email that's being sent out will come from agent 123456789 at KW. But if someone clicks reply, it'll go to your email address. And that's just to keep your personal email address out of the spam. We don't want your email address being marked as spam. If a bunch of people mark your email as spam, all the spam servers get notified and no one will get your email. It'll always go to spam. So this is how I would send out email blasts. Just like that. Any questions on that? Yeah.
You said your email is gonna show up to the person as a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it'll
They spam that,
it'll say from a crazy thing.
but
But
that,
if they press reply to, no, but it'll have your name. Like it'll say sender's name. If they hover over your name, they'll see a weird email address.
yeah,
But if they press reply, they'll see your name. They'll see the name that you put send.
okay.
But if they press reply to, it'll be your email address.
That seems odd because that would make me think this is a fake spam email.
It'll be your name and it depends on what content you're sending them.
Yeah.
It'll have their name on it. But it's to protect you. It really is to protect your email address from not being flagged as a spammer.
But does it change every time?
I
Because what if they flag that as spam, but they're never gonna get that anyway?
It might not change.
So
It might, it's a great question.
they're gonna block that anyway.
It's a great question. I'm going to check that. It could come from the same weird number.
Right,
It might be specific to you.
Okay.
It's a long number, but it could be
Right.
specific to you.
right, but it's the same, yeah, you're blocked out either way then.
Yeah. But the important thing is it has that opt-out feature, which is what we need for compliance. So it has that opt-out. So okay, here we go. All right, so this course that's being taught today is a 20 course. This course consists of 20 classes. Right now we're in the transaction portion with the buyer, which is great. So basically we need to lead generate all the time and then follow up with our leads and hopefully get into a transaction with them. So we're gonna classify our buyers. We want to work with A buyers. What's an A buyer? Talk about that. Getting the appointment, preparing for your buyer consultation, conducting it, getting them to sign a buyer agreement. Okay, so that's what we're here. Okay, Gary Keller, is saying the right approach to close for a meeting is the only approach. Staff support it. Right approach to close for a meeting is the only approach. Right? I'm trying to make sense out of this. The right approach to close for a meeting is the only approach.
The right approach to,
The right approach to close for a meeting is the only approach. Ask for it. Ask for the closing.
Ask for the help.
for the, it's like anything else, you have to ask for.
The right approach to close for a meeting
Comma,
is the only approach.
It's saying, can I have your business?
the only approach,
Are we ready to sign?
the only right approach is to ask for the.
Yeah.
Client,
Can I have your
right?
business?
It's not,
Like retail.
no, it's not.
The right approach to close for a meeting is the only approach. The only approach is to ask.
Let me tell you
This is, I don't like the way this is.
But let me tell you something
Yeah.
from retail.
Yeah.
When I was in retail, I could help a customer for 3 hours. She came up to the register with $5,000 worth of clothing. And if I didn't ask for the sale, she would have left. Like at the register, you had to say, talk about other things. So you're gonna get all of them, you know what I mean? Because if you wouldn't, she was like, I have to think about it.
So I know
Call
someone.
you later.
I know someone who was in the t-shirt business downtown. And she would have people come into her store. Buyers, they're buying, and she would lock the door behind them and say, I'm not letting you leave without buying this amount. of-"
The customer is most vulnerable before they sign or.
Well, she was,
before-
yeah,
It's when they're ready to go.
I mean, she was crazy, yeah, but
So.
she made a lot of money.
As Nathan.
She made a lot of money. I mean, she would basically, I'm not letting you out without buying something, that's like,
You're locked in.
you're locked in, unless you buy something.
I would suggest.
But I think it means just ask for the sale. Ask for the,
Always ask for the sale. So Josh reminds me, always be intentional. Always, there's a reason for what you're doing. Be purposeful. So if you're making call, like what we say here, make 10 calls a day, talk to 10 people a day. It's not just to talk to 10 people a day. You need to have a business conversation with them, right? Are you looking for any real estate? Do you have any real estate plans this year, 2024? Is there anything I can help you with in real estate this year? You have to have that conversation. Have you been thinking about selling? I need to come see your house. That's an appointment. Are you thinking about buying? I'll take you out to see property. That's an appointment. So that's what we need to be intentional, purposeful about asking. Okay, let's talk about what an A buyer. What is an A buyer? So we are doing lead generation every day. We need to figure out first who we're going after for leads. And that can be first-time home buyers. What's a first-time home buyer? It's a renter. Right? We need to figure out how to be in front of a renter. It's not like we can get into an apartment building complex if we don't live there. And if an apartment building complex sees you walking around knocking on doors, they're probably gonna ask to leave, all right? So, but we have to figure out, how do we get in front of renters? And you can't even get renters like names and addresses because they're not published anywhere. So I have to really think about this. What you can do is mail, which gets expensive, but you can do, instead of mailing individually with an address, we have something called EDDM from the post office, every door direct mail, which is a lot less expensive. I think it's like 12 cents instead of 50 cents. So you could do that. Like I'm thinking like Warner Center and Woodland Hills is a huge complex. I wanted to hit everyone in Warner Center. I would do an EDDM, and it's just going to the USPS website and looking up EDDM. Most printers will automatically create your postcards pre-posted for EDDM, and they'll drop it off at the post office that's local to you. That's the least expensive way to do it. Our marketing department can also help you with that. But basically, a lead is someone that we have not had a real estate conversation with yet. And we are capturing those leads. Our websites, our KW websites are lead capture, which means if we can get someone to come to our website to search for a property, when they come to our website and press search, they're going to be asked to put their name, phone number, email. That's lead capture. So we always want to capture leads. The best way to capture a lead is to offer something of value. So, you know, I might put a $30 ad in a newspaper or something, just saying like Beverly Hills Fixer, you know, Woodland Hills Fixer property. But then I'm gonna have a domain name that I reserve called woodlandhillsfixers.com. So when people go there, they're going to that website with the intention of finding out fixers. And then to get my pre-printed list, they're gonna have to fill out a lead capture form, name, email, address. That's how I capture a lead. Once I talk to them, then they become a contact. So all those leads are coming into my database in command, AW command. And then I'm gonna form a relationship. So I'm gonna take my leads, I'm gonna contact them, have a real estate conversation with them. Then they become a contact. I need to put them on some kind of continuous conversation, email campaign, I need to get them on some kind of prospecting. What is it? The smart plan. I'm gonna put them on a smart plan. The smart plan is going to say, you know, call them once a quarter, send an email once a month. They're all different smart plans. This is what I'm doing right now on Fridays, smart plans. So I suggest definitely, you know, attend that class or look at my pre-recorded class. If I recorded one. Okay, so then they become a contact. And now we're preparing them for conversion. So we're going to be interactive with them, find out what they're looking for, find out if they're a seller, if they're a buyer. And then that's it. Do repeat. We're always asking for referrals. All right, here's the cycle, 7-step buyer service cycle. So leads to appointments. So if someone comes into an open house, they're a lead. I need to convert them to a buyer rep appointment. I could have it at my open house, but it could be them coming into the office. It could be meeting them at a property to do a showing. So that's going to be my first appointment. If they come into the office, that's going to be a full buyer consultation. I will probably invest one day in a buyer showing them property. So it's up to you how you run your own business. You can have the consultation right away and meet them here in the office. You can reserve the conference room. And you can say, you know, tell me, you know, what you're looking for. And this is how I work. You know, here's the buyer rep agreement and put me to work. I'll start hunting for you full time. So we're converting that lead into that appointment, the buyer consultation, or it could be a showing, right? We're gonna go and find them a property to buy. And once they find something they like, we're gonna send them an application. We're gonna take that application and send it to the listing agent. We'll make an offer and an email. You know, we're looking for a 1-year lease, a 2-year lease, or a sale. You know, we want to offer $2 million and 30-day escrow, blah, blah, blah. And we'll negotiate that. Hopefully we get an accepted offer, and then we're going to hold their hand until closing. Post-close is going to be calling them, you know, a few days after closing. How's it going? We don't want to be taking our commission and then never talking to them again. Right, so this is important. Post-close, we have to have a system for that. So how was your transaction? Can I get testimonials from you for Google, for Yelp? Right, very important. But you know, I'm calling my client, my buyer client. I'm calling them the day after they get there, the second day after, the third day after. It's a very hectic time for a buyer. Like, you know, things are not working as they should have. Yes, they inspected the property, but it's okay. Sarah, oh, good. Great. So. Everyone.
7 post-close systems, hectic time for buyers.
Hectic time.
Yeah.
So we are we need to be psychologists, psychiatrists, I don't know. We need to, there's a lot of, this is the most stressful time for anybody buying and selling a property. People are just, you're seeing people at their worst. All the emotions come out. The calmest person is all of a sudden a freak, because they're freaking out. Just, this is how it is. We are always dealing with emotions. Our job is to keep the deal together. We're not there to get the buyer the best price. We're there to get them the deal. If they don't get the deal, we didn't do anything for them. Once they're in the deal, we can try to negotiate after inspections. We can try to negotiate maybe, but our job is to win the deal for them. And that could involve telling them, you need to come up. If you want this deal, you need to come up. Right? So keep that in mind. We just got to get the deal. Yeah. But there's going to be a lot of emotions, and you have to be the non-emotional person in the deal. All right, getting the appointment. Let's talk about that. Respond the right way to lead inquiries. Get valid and complete contact information. Save it to command, create an opportunity. Determine their motivation to buy so you can speak to it. Set an appointment, time and date for as soon as possible. Okay, so just knowing this, let's dissect it a little bit. Respond the right way to lead inquiry. If someone is contacting you, you need to be prepared to lock them in as your buyer, right? You have a sign on a listing. People are going to be calling you saying, how much is it? And if you give them a price right away and hang up, they're going to hang up. And you lost that opportunity as a lead. So when you don't have a listing, it's really hard to get business when you don't have a listing. I'm not saying it's really hard. It's more difficult because once you have a listing, you can leverage it. When you have a listing, there are calls coming in. Buyers are calling you. Other agents are calling you. There's things that are happening. It's really important for us to have listings. Once we have a listing and a call comes in, you need to know. If someone calls me on my sign and says, hi, what do you have? I'm in front of such and such property. How much is it? I'm gonna say, oh, great. Thank you for calling. Can I get your name? And if it says blocked ID, like I don't have no caller ID, I'm gonna say, can I get your phone number in case we get disconnected? Right? And they might say, no, I just want the price. I just want the price. Okay, but I want to tell you more about the property. I just want to know who I'm talking to. Hopefully they'll give you the number and not hang up. If they hang up, they hang up. But don't you want contact? Don't you want to capture them? Of course. So I'm saying, okay, well, let me tell you about that property. By the way, how long have you been looking? I'm going to try to get as much information as I can from them. There will be a follow-up. Okay. But once I've captured their contact information, then I'm going to continue to follow up with them. I'll give them what they're asking for. So I want to make sure I have their contact information. Now it says here, save it to command and create an opportunity. So let me show you. We have here command. I'm going to put them in as a contact. So I'll add them as a contact. Once they're added as a contact, I'm going to put them on a smart plan. So what are the smart plans? So we have all different smart plans that Keller Williams. There's a birthday smart plan. There's a holiday smart, monthly neighborhood. I have here an open house follow-up smart plan. You could have a sign call smart plan. Like whatever your smart plan is, you're gonna put someone on it and you keep in touch with them. You don't want to lose that lead. Leads are valuable, right? So now, how do we qualify an A buyer? What is an A buyer? It's someone who can buy. You don't want to waste your time. I don't know why there are people out there wasting time. I don't know. There are people out there that will call you. They want to see a house and they can't afford it, but they want to go see it anyways. Makes no sense to me. So I'm always trying to determine someone's motivation. Why do you want to be in this area? Are you looking for schools? It could be someone that they're empty nesters, which means their kids have all moved out. And now it's just the two of them. They want to downsize, right? That's an empty nester. There could be a divorce situation, right? They need to sell the asset and split the money. Could be an inherited property. So usually kids in their 60s, right? They inherit a property, and there are siblings. So the siblings want to split the money. So I'm trying to figure out motivation. Now motivation for a buyer, we need to find out. So if I'm dealing with a buyer that's in a rent control property and their rent is only $1,200 a month, do they really have a lot of motivation to buy something? Now, in that scenario, if I'm dealing with someone who has a really low rent control property, maybe they should buy a property as an investment. So what I'll say to a buyer is, when you buy something, you're locking your cost of living at today. So it's now 2024. If you buy a property now in 2024, you're locking your cost of living at 2024. So 20 years from now, you're still gonna have the same payment. Now, and it's really, and buying something is a forced savings. Forced to pay down your principal. If you have a tenant in the property, they're paying your principal. Right, so that it's a great thing as a buyer, buy something. And you also have a tax deduction. There's a lot of reasons to buy. But I need to know their motivation. Someone who's just looking, they're in a rent control place, that's not a lot of motivation for me. I need to know that they want to buy something as an investment. Right, and then set the appointment, of course, as soon as possible, before another agent like me steals them from me. All right. 7, close to appointment tax. So show the benefits of working with you. Okay. So what is the benefit of working with you? I would suggest that you guys, if you want to when you go and log into Command, again, you're gonna go to agent.kw.com. When you're in Command, if you look up here in the upper left, there's a spot here, it says Connect. Connect is our learning area for Keller Williams. And in that search bar, search for the word value. Value. Value will take you to our Keller Williams brand new stuff on communicating your value. This is how to articulate your value to your clients, value reader's guide, slide deck, value squared. So all this stuff on value is why a buyer should hire you, why a seller should hire you. Very important stuff to go over. So, definitely do that in your spare time. Anything that you think is valuable that you can argue, write it down, save it. You want to create a buyer presentation. We have stock buyer presentations in Command, but you want to really create your own buyer presentation. So take anything in here that resonates with you to help you create your buyer presentation. All right, there are different kinds of closings here. Let's talk about them. So, up here some notes. There are examples of these things. Oh shoot, I'm in the wrong. Right, so let's look at these different kinds of points. Okay, so show the benefits. People are more likely to go along with something you suggested if you explain the benefits to them. If spending 30 minutes with me could save you hours of time and thousands of dollars in your home search, would that be a benefit to you? So a benefit to a buyer, let's think about it, is saving them time. What does a buyer want to do? They want to find the right property for the best price in the shortest amount of time. That's what a buyer wants to do. So that's the benefit. They want to find the right property, shortest amount of time, for the best price they can. Okay. I take back close. So this technique puts a tempting offer in front of the buyer and subtly creates a fear that they might not be able to get it. I've enjoyed talking with you. To be honest, I don't know whether I can be of help to you or not. However, I'd be honored if we could meet to find out. How about we meet tomorrow? a take back close. So this is you expressing your value to a buyer, why they need to work with you. And then just saying like, if it's not for you, I get it. Like they think, oh, wait, that sounded good. Sounded good. That's a take back close. All right, and negative, positive. Okay, a negative, positive. This is a way of backing into the appointment. Would you be offended? So I hear this a lot from scripts and dialogues people. Would you be offended? There was something that I played here. I'll play it again soon. There was an agent that always used this kind of phrase. He said, would you be offended? Would you be offended if I asked if we could meet to go over all this in a little more detail? I'm free tomorrow. What time it works for you? So he uses the words, would you be offended? Because everyone's obviously going to say, no, of course I won't be offended. So that's helping you get the appointment. They call that a negative positive. Okay. All right, give them what they're looking for. Quickly pique the buyer's interest by giving them what they're looking for, information on interesting comparable properties. So yes, let's meet in my office and I can give you the specific details about the property and let you know about similar properties also for sale. What time works for you? All right, so give them what they're looking for. Okay, but you're gonna give them to come here before you give it to them. All right, trial close. Trial close. Test the waters first. You should find out whether you and the client genuinely agree. You see how receiving a list of all these new homes on the market in your price range will help you in the home search? Great, let's get started. Trial close. So I would say for a trial close on a listing appointment, right, is you go into a seller's house and say, is there anything you need to discuss before we sign the listing agreement? Right, there's no point in having a 1 hour meeting if they're ready to sign right away and get started. Right, so that's trial close. Let's see, are they willing to close right this second? Assumptive close. I'm always using the assumptive close. It sounds like we should meet. I'm available most times this week, so what works best for you? So assumptive means I'm always assuming that of course they're hiring me. Of course they're working with me. So when I walk through a property with a seller, I'm saying to them, when we have the open house, make sure this, make sure that. When we do this, you know, when I do my showings, so a tie down. All right. Expressions like, wouldn't that be great? Or forming questions with, can't you, isn't it, wouldn't you? Ask for agreement, get your customers into a pattern of saying yes. We'll save hours on your home search if we meet in the office first. Saving time is important to you, isn't it? So when you get someone in the pattern of saying yes, 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 and then ask for the appointment, they're in the yes mode. So that's a tie down. All right, buyer objections to the appointment. So ask questions, empathize, identify the real issue, offer a solution, urgent agreement. When I'm talking to anyone, buyer or seller, I'm going to ask them questions, obviously. I want to repeat what they're saying to me. So if someone says to me, you know, I'm looking to be in the city, in the mountains with a view. I'm gonna respond back to them. I hear you. You're looking, you know, I want them to understand that I'm hearing. Okay, so we're looking for a mountainside property with a view in the city. Can you come into the office tomorrow so we can look at property? They say, well, I need to talk to my husband. I need to do this. And so once there's an objection, I need to identify what the objection is. So first I need to isolate it, identify it, isolate it, and then respond to it. So if someone says to me, I need to talk to my husband first, you know, you need to respond to that. You know, what is it that you need to talk to your husband about? I'm gonna wait for that answer. What is it that you need to talk to your husband about? You know, when is your husband available? What is your husband's timing like? You know, when can I get both of you together? Is it easier if I come to you? Right? So my solution is after I've identified the problem or the objection, then I'm gonna offer a solution. Can I come to you? Right, solution. Urge an agreement. So I wanna, obviously, I'm developing a relationship with someone. They need to know that If, you know, why it's important to work with me, because I'm gonna give them my undivided attention until I find them the property they're looking for. Right, they're hiring me, right? So this is a job interview. That's, I'm gonna urge them to sign that buyer rep agreement. Okay. Now let's talk about preparing for that agreement. Okay, so we're gonna confirm the appointment date and time. This is an interesting thing, confirming. If I set an appointment 2 days from now, it's totally possible. I know as an agent in the field, I'll get calls from agents and say, can I come see, today is Monday? I'll get a call from an agent today and they'll say, I have a client coming in from out of town. Can they see your property on Thursday? Thursday at 9 o'clock. I need to confirm that appointment because I could be at the property at 9 and no one shows up. Right? It's always important to confirm. This is also, I would say always make sure that you have someone's contact information. Probably like 15 years ago, I was contacted by a company that asked me if I wanted to get a referral for someone. And I said, yeah, that's great. They said, we'll call you later in the day. And I didn't get their contact information. And I think because I didn't ask for it, I didn't get their. I really think that they were like testing me to see how thorough I was on follow-up. And because on that phone call, I didn't say, can I get your name? Can I get your phone number? Because I didn't ask those questions, I think that they just moved on. I think they were looking for someone who was really good at following.
Can you ask for the email? People are more inclined to give you the email. Just give me the email. You say your phone number, they get frightened, you know?
I mean, hopefully their phone number shows up on your phone.
Uh-huh.
But if it doesn't, then you should ask for it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you should always get someone's phone number and email address if you can. You can.
Yeah,
I don't wanna-
but there is not having the phone number, but the email, I think they're more. Either more.
So now we are talking to buyers. Today's about buyers. So we're going to confirm the time and date of our appointment, where they're meeting. Are they coming here? Are we going there? Ensure all decision makers attend. So if I'm dealing with a husband and wife, for example, one, you know, I need to have both of them. I'm going to complete my buyer guide for them to review, prepare a meeting space, review the lead sheet. So ensure all decision makers attend. That's just an important one. If you're dealing with a kid, and when I say kid, that kid could be in their 60s. If the money's coming from the parent is the decision maker. So just keep that in mind that I want the parent to be involved in that meeting. Whether it's on, you know, we can have a FaceTime meeting at the same time as I'm meeting with the kid. So wherever the money is coming from, that's your client. I can't make that, I can't emphasize that more, because what I don't want to happen to you is you show a property where you're working with someone for 2 months, and then they finally find the property and you're ready to make an offer, and the kid tells their parent, I need money, I'm ready to make an offer, and the parent says, what are you talking about? You know, let me call my agent and we'll make an offer with my agent. But I don't want that to happen to you. So, and I'm just gonna keep saying that because I don't want that to happen to you. So just make sure you know who all the decision makers are. All right, top 10 service areas of your buyer value proposition. So this is gonna come from the value slides. Why use you? Well, you're gonna do a needs analysis. So you're not just signing someone up 1, 2, 3. You're gonna first ask them, you know, what they're looking for. Are their needs realistic? Do a needs analysis. Pre-qualification or pre-approval. I'm gonna have my lender pre-qualify my client. So we have Rocket Mortgage in our office. Rocket Mortgage is incredible. And I'm not just saying that. They can close a deal so fast. Most lenders can't do a deal in less than 30 days. They're just not, they don't have the system for it. So there are some lenders out there that can do 21, maybe. Rocket Mortgage can do a 7-day deal if they have to. Okay, it's incredible. So you might be uncomfortable asking your buyer how much money they have to buy a property, how much down payment. You don't have to have those conversations. You can have the mortgage lender do it. So put them in touch immediately with Rocket Mortgage. And then after they talk to your buyer, they'll tell you, this is how much your buyer can afford, basically. So that's gonna be pre-qualification and pre-approval. Neighborhood information. So you have to be a little careful about this, what they're actually asking you for. They're asking you for crime rates. I would be hesitant to put something like that in writing because they may not be accurate. I don't want to make any misrepresentations. I might lead them to websites that have different information on them, but I'm not going to make any representations. Home search. Okay, well, this is what I'm going to be helping you with. So I'll be helping you with, well, I can give you websites on neighborhoods. Of course, I'm going to be helping you in the home search. So what is my home search? What makes me different than other agents? Well, we have 600 to 700 agents in this office. Okay. So aside from what's in the MLS, I'm able to ask the agents in this office, through our marketing department, we can, and coming to our meetings on Tuesday here, we can stand up at the meeting and say, I have a buyer looking for something. So you can do that. So just say, if anyone has something that meets this criteria, please come up to me after the meeting. We also have access to KW alerts. We can email 3,200 people with one email and ask if anyone has anything that meets this criteria. So you can help a buyer not only in the MLS, but outside the MLS. By contacts that we already have. I can help you write your offer, obviously, but the way that you're gonna present that is there's a lot that goes into an offer. It's not just filling everything out. You're gonna talk to the listing agent. You're gonna find out what the seller is looking for. You're gonna do everything you can to make your offer acceptable. Right? So that's more than other agents are telling these buyers, trust me. You're gonna tell them, how important this is for them to get the property. You're gonna be doing everything you can to help them and giving them all the information they need to help them make a success, or an offer that is acceptable. At least what the other agent is telling you can be acceptable. You'll do the negotiating. After you get your accepted offer, you're gonna coordinate inspections. General inspection, chimney inspection, sewer inspection, mold inspection, termite inspection. So all those inspections, foundation inspection, whatever you need, you're gonna help coordinate that. So your buyer is not lost. You'll be holding their hand through all that. Pre-closing preparation. So you'll make sure that all the documents are there. You'll make sure that the seller has done everything they need to do. You'll, of course, you're gonna be in contact with everybody, lender, escrow, title. You'll be making sure that everything's on schedule. You'll get them to closing, and then, of course, you'll stay in touch with them post-closing. I'm telling my buyer, I'm not leaving you after we close escrow. I'm here to help you, like whatever, we'll get through it together. I'm not just gonna get my commission and run. All right, here is stuff that you can put in your buyer guide. If you want to create your own buyer guide. Now, if you guys want to access this material for yourself later, then just go into command. I'm sorry, I'll go to that slide in a second. But here, when you go to connect, again, in command is agent.kw.com. When you log in, go to connect, and then you're going to search for Ignite. The other search was value, but this one is Ignite. This is the course material, Ignite Student Manual. But you can get everything is available on Keller Williams. So just go to connect, search for Ignite, and you'll be able to get all this course material. So buyer guide contents. All right, so welcome letter, timeless buying process. What is the timeline? What does it look like? The home search process, how to access the KW app. As a KW agent, you guys all have a KW app that you can share. That app is personalized to you. So when you share your app with someone, it's just like the Zillow app, it's a KW app, but you're the agent. So and it's GPS based. So when someone is in front of us for sale sign, and they open up the KW app. It'll show the property that they're standing in front of. They can press it, they can look at the pictures. And if they want to, if they're interested in it, your information is right there. It says schedule a tour. Contact my agent. You're the agent on everything. So definitely we'll talk about this on Fridays.
Is it
Yeah.
AW real estate or command?
So there's two apps. So the red one, the command app, that is for the agents. That's the agent app. The white one
Is
the white one is for the public, but we're not gonna send them the white one. We're gonna send them the white one through the red one. So we're gonna open the red one on our phone and we're gonna send to our client our link to the white one, but it's our link. When you send the link, it's got a code in it that's branded to you. So when they go to the App Store or the Play Store and they install it, it's gonna have you as the agent.
Oh,
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So we want the command and the real estate app?
So you just want the command app.
Okay.
If you download the command app, after you install it, in the upper left-hand corner, it's gonna be your name after you install it. When you click your name, it's gonna say share my KW app link. And then you can share it with yourself and see how it works. Pretty cool. All right, so yeah. For any new agent that hasn't done my checklist, I have my own checklist to get you into all the technology. Just contact me. We'll meet this week or next. And so I have an hour and a half that I'll spend with you to make sure that you have all the technology set up on your computer. All right. Introduction. So value proposition, pledge of quality, your bio. Reasons to buy a home. Local market analysis, price ranges, trends. Financial worksheet, credit check request. We're not going to do that because that's going to be just information on Rocket Mortgage. Interest rates chart, we can show historically where interest rates have been, where they're going. Items required for loan application. So that, again, it's going to be Rocket Mortgage. Information on Keller Mortgage, I would say Rocket Mortgage. Mistakes to avoid, okay, you can have that. A buyer questionnaire, that's going to be part of your presentation, your listing of your buyer listing appointment. Buyer rep agreement, yes. Sample contract. You can bring a residential purchase agreement with you if you want to show them what the RPA looks like. I would say that's pretty good. At your buyer rep appointment, show them what an offer looks like and how many pages there are, how much paperwork that you're there to help them with. It's pretty cool. I would do that. You'll talk about making an offer, closing. You'll talk about inspections. You'll talk about what title does. You'll have an agency disclosure. Service providers. I'm not sure that I would give away my inspectors until they sign. After they sign, I'm happy to share my inspections with them. Local attractions, if they're coming from outside the area, you can include this in your buyer guide, or wherever they're looking. Apps with names of neighborhoods and zip codes, okay. School information, important if the schools in your area are good, but you can have private schools and public schools there. Utility guide, okay. Who are the utility providers in that area? Moving tips, testimonials about KW, about yourself, frequently asked questions. So these are all things that you can put in your buyer's guide. That I would say this is important to work on your business. Not in like it's working in your business, which is your daily lead generation. Working on your business is doing things like your listing presentation, your buyer guide. So that's working on your business. Very important. All right, command buyer guide. So there is a buyer guide in command. If we go back into command, so in command, if we go to, let's say, designs, we click on designs, we can go to create design. And this is gonna be for printing. Next.
So command pretty much like, it's like a CRM, like
Command is a full CRM,
for everything, huh?
full contact management. We can design emails, we can design social media stuff. We can design print stuff. We can send it out, email campaigns. We can set up, you know, a smart plan to keep in touch with our clients. But here, here under or buyers, here's buyer presentation. So here are buyer presentations. So this is, you know, you can click on these and you can review all the things that are in there. You can personalize this, how it looks. So all these are editable, but they're all here. I just wanted to show you, like, you can do all of this inside command. So all you need is command is totally customizable. So, yes,
Canva, you want something cuter.
Canva. Yeah, Canva has stuff.
They're cute. If you
Yeah,
like this.
sorry. So you can use the tools that KW has to design stuff. You can use Canva to design stuff, right? You can use Fiverr. I've hired people on Fiverr, Fiverr.com. I had someone program a 5-page website on Fiverr for $100. Pretty awesome. WordPress website. All right, so this is an example of one of the things on KW commands, table of contents. Okay. Buyer's guide to dream home. Our needs come first, yes. This page sets the tone for the appointment and your relationship by centering on the buyer's needs. All right, that's all we care about. What are your needs? Build your preference profile. So I have a class that I teach called the buyer presentation, right? Buyer process. So we talk about all these things and I hand out, you know, my buyer questionnaire. Buyer guide home wish list. So who will be living there? List everybody. What are the non-negotiables? Do you have to have a backyard, right? There's gonna be people that say, the whole reason I'm moving is I want a backyard or a pool, whatever it is. What are the non-negotiables? If you had to name your top 5 non-negotiables, what would they be? Beyond your top 5, is there something you need? Do you have any preference for the year the house was built? You know, that's an important question. Do you only want new construction? Are you open to fixers? Right? So, do you need a house moving condition? You're willing to do some work? Not only that, if you we find a great property, but it's not big enough for you, willing to do a little construction to add on.
How do you understand somebody wants to be near religious places? This is can you, I mean, I want to be in the area close to
Right, so we can't,
place of worship. But
yeah, so we can't steer.
we can't steer.
We can't steer.
I mean, they want to be close to that. I need to walk. I need to be able to walk, or I need to
Right, that's
be close. Like,
but so if someone says I need to be walking distance to synagogue,
yeah.
then you can, that's fine. There's no problem with that. But what I can't do is assume that someone needs that and only show them properties that are.
Oh.
Right, that's
Yes, I'm glad, kid.
right.
You can't assume. You must make sure that he wants in that area.
I can't make any assumptions myself and only show them properties that I think are good for them.
Oh,
I need them to tell me what they're looking for.
oh, thank you.
Okay, when people visit your home, what should it say about you? That will help you maybe. Are there any specific features that you would like to add to make your next house feel like home? Will you require accessibility options? So if you know that your buyer has someone they're taking care of that's maybe in a wheelchair, you need to only look at properties that have wide doorways or a ramp. You know, if you see a property that has stairs all over the place, forget it. That's not going to work for them. So, you know, you're there to assess what their needs are, listen to them, and then help them find property that meet their criteria. All right, neighborhood insights. Templates and neighborhoods are in command. Okay, interesting. Neighborhoods are in command. Okay, I mean, we'll take a look at that. How buying a home.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Right, so this is stuff that you can walk through with your buyers at your buyer presentation.
But on the carpet, so.
This one's made simple. I would probably include a flyer from Rocket Mortgage. Real value, real experience, my competitive advantage. So there's 2 philosophies about what to put in your package. You can put the whole kitchen sink in there and give them the biggest buyer, you know, Or you can only have in there what you're gonna discuss with, that's totally up to you, two different philosophies. Okay, conducting the consultation.
Yeah. And then put it back on.
So. Preparing for, so. Prior to meeting with your buyer, you should have a high quality colored copy of the buyer presentation. If you're meeting virtually, be able to send it to them right beforehand in a PDF. Okay, what else might you prepare? This is obviously prepared during COVID. If necessary, have masks and hand sanitizers as well as sterilized pens to write with. What kind of mindset should you have going into a consultation? Confident, open, caring, curious, ready to win. I would say the biggest factor when you're talking to a buyer or seller is that you're confident. And I know it's gonna be hard being confident when you haven't done it before. I understand that. But you should be confident that you're gonna help them, that you're gonna hold their hand and you'll go through it together. Right? People are gonna do business with you because they know that you're going to help them. And trust you just from your relationship. It's nothing to do with your experience in real estate. People are gonna do business with you because they trust you. So just be confident that you're gonna do a good job for them. Whether, it's your first time and you need to always be coming to the office here to ask questions, me or whatever, or whoever, you're gonna provide them all the help that they need to get through. What does Gary say? Oh, this is our affirmation. So I am knowledgeable and caring and the best agent for these clients. They will appreciate my expertise and preparation and choose me to represent them as they buy a home. So that's our affirmation before we meet with our buyer. I am knowledgeable and caring, yes, and the best agent for these clients. Welcome the buyer. So buyer's needs analysis. This is just what you're gonna do. What is your wish list? If you could have anything, what would it be? Okay, now we're talking about letters. So as agents, we used to get taught that we want to pull on the seller's emotional strings, right? That when we submit an offer, submit a letter with a picture of the family and the dog and try to make it emotional. What it's turned into, unfortunately, is lawsuits from a buyer saying the seller saw my love letter and didn't sell me the house, didn't pick me as the buyer because they're prejudiced or, they're discriminatory.
Yeah.
So basically, we don't want any more love letters, no more love letters. We don't want the buyers suing the seller. So
Even if the agent said, if the buyer said to the agent.
in the listing agreement, when we sign a listing agreement now with a seller, it actually says by default, seller says, do not send me any cover letters.
Agent,
Don't send me letters. It says that. And there's a checkbox if the seller wants to see it. But just keep in mind.
and if the agent tells you to write the letter anyway, you don't, in that, the agent said, write the
We've
letter.
always been taught in real estate to include this. And then what's changed is now they're saying don't do
Better
it.
not to do
Because
it.
obviously sellers have been sued by
Yeah.
buyers that have said I was discriminated against
Okay.
because of the letter.
Oh, because of the letter, yeah.
So by default, we shouldn't do it. Okay. It might help our buyer. I don't know what's going on in my seller's brain. I have no idea. So I thought that this was a good idea. Maybe it's not a good idea because we might trigger, there might be something in that letter, one sentence that the seller says, I don't want to deal with this buyer. There could be, right? Maybe there's a picture of a political candidate in the background. I don't know. And it just totally turns them off. So we don't want to kill it for them. So no love letters. Okay. All right, getting the signed buyer agreement. So we're going to talk real quick about KW Cares. So we have a charity here at Keller Williams called KW Cares. They have emergency grants, $5,000, and they can even go up to $30,000. If someone in our office, basically it would be someone has an emergency, they would talk to Josh and say, Josh, can you apply for a grant for me from KW Cares? Josh would fill it out and send it to KW Corporate, and they award this. There have been people in our office that have been awarded this in the past. It's horrible because they needed it, right? But it is available, so that's good. Gary Keller is also, he has something called Quantum Leap, which is for young professionals under 30, just to get them, future focused. Okay, so I wanted to go back to getting the signed buyer agreement. So let's just talk for a second about getting a buyer agreement signed. So the buyer, we sign sellers on a listing agreement. We sign a seller on a listing agreement. We sign buyers on a buyer rep agreement. Those are the two different listings that we have, seller listings and buyer listings. We used to have a coach in here, Susan Rose, and she would track everything. She said that every buyer's agent that's got their buyer to sign a buyer rep agreement, that equaled a closing. That she said every buyer that signed one of those bought. So that was when it was optional to do. Now it's not optional. Every buyer has to sign this. But just keep in mind, like, when a buyer hires you, chances are they're going to buy. If they're signing that buyer rep agreement, they're going to buy something. So definitely, once they sign that, you're hired. You're finding them a property. All right. So what is our daily success system? So this is what we're supposed to do every day. We're supposed to have 10 real estate conversations a day. That is our job. You need to call people. This is the hard part for agents. This is the part where we have to push ourselves every day. Our job is not to go and write offers. That's not our job. Our job is to have real estate conversations. So the fun part is the writing the offer, taking the listing. That's the fun part. The hard part, the work part is having the conversation. So we need to first identify our target market. Who are we going to go after every day? So the first group of people that you are people that know you. That's the most. Your friends and family, and even people you haven't talked to in 10 years. Like, you have to rekindle that relationship. Reach out to them, say, hey, I know we haven't talked to forever. This is what I'm doing. I'm in real estate. And what have you been up to? Do you have any plans for real estate this year? If you want to increase your real estate portfolio, I'm here to help you anytime you need. I have lots of resources that can be of service of value. Can you think of anyone right now that could use help? Right? Friends, family. So anyone at work, I would appreciate the referral. So that is a real estate conversation. We're supposed to have 10 of those a day. All right. Now you want to add those people into command so you can keep in contact with them. Okay, so we're going to have conversations and adding. You want to grow your database. Your database is going to always be changing, right? People are going to be moving. You're going to be removing them from your database. So if this is a living thing, we want to keep adding people to it. Handwritten notes is a completely different animal. That takes a long time. A handwritten note. People don't get these anymore. So if you were writing handwritten notes to people, hey, this is a big deal. It takes time. It's a commitment from you. But it's people will definitely remember you by your handwritten note. If you're a social media business, here's your daily success system. You want to do 10 likes. Okay. You also want to have 5 comments. And you want to have 1 post. That's daily. If your lead gen strategy is social media, this is what you're doing. 10 likes, 5 comments, and 1 post. Your post can also be a DM. It can be a direct message. Keller Williams also says that whatever you post, 80% should be personal and 20% business. Don't kill people with business. They're going to tune you out. Right? Do 80% personal, 20% business. All right. And enrichment would be taking someone for lunch, meeting someone for lunch, giving something of value. You know, if you're a neighborhood agent, giving out pumpkins on Halloween, giving out flags for July 4th, those are enrichments. But I prefer to have one-on-one lunchtime with someone. Appointments, that's what we're going for. Your goal every day is to get an appointment. It's not just to have the conversations. It's to have the conversation and ask for the appointment. You know, if when you're making your calls and talking to people, do you have needs? Like, if you're ready to buy property, can you go see property? When are you available? We're making an appointment to go see something. Or if they have something that they need to sell, when can I go see the property that you have to sell? Agreements and closings. So obviously, purchase agreements, buyer agreements, listing agreements, and then taking them to closing. Those are our goals. Don't call anyone on the do not call list. There can be a fine up to $43,280 per call. Do not do it.
Much?
$43,000.
I wonder if we two
Don't
hundred,
do it.
280.
All right, here's our affirmation.
The power per person
Per call.
is not per person.
Per call.
Per car,
It says
you
How are you gonna know? How are you gonna know who you
have
call?
to subscribe to.
So everyone here can come to me and ask me for a farm area. So I can give you a list of names, phone numbers, and email addresses for an area of people. So just come to me and ask me, no problem. But in what I'm giving you, next to each phone number, it's either gonna be blank or it's gonna say do not call. So just don't.
See.
I'm on this, it's great, for spam.
Okay, here's our affirmation. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution and people are happy to be in a relationship with me. I come from a place of contribution. So when I'm calling someone, this is what I'm doing. I'm here to help you. Is there anything I can do to assist you? It's not begging for business. Will you work with me? That's not how I'm approaching anybody. It's I'm here, I'm doing real estate full time. How can I help you? Call me when you need me. I have tons of resources. If you need anything, any title information, if you ever want to find out who's living somewhere, contact information for someone. I want to be their source of information. I want them to think, oh, I need something, I'm calling agent, right? That's where you're coming from, contribution. Okay, I think we are done for today. So, any questions on anything I went over today?
Sorry, just.
Yeah.
Just the IT question. You told we can have 5,000 free email per month.
Yes,
It's per calendar month or,
for calendar month.
okay, so we, for example, I have 7 days for my, this 5,000 and after that another. So thank you very much.
For calendar month.
I have a question. The agent, the buyer's agreement, it's 90 days. Can you change it to longer? And if so, what do you recommend on how to take it into 6 months, say?
So the buyer agreement can only be for 90 days.
Okay,
It can only be for 3 months.
correct.
And at the end of 3 months, you can send a modification of terms for an additional 3 months. If you try to make it more, it'll invalidate it.
Alright. And so what on the 85th day, you say, hey, you want to go another 3 months?
So yes, you would send a modification of terms. Yeah, so I'm just gonna show you guys real quick. So I'm logging in now to CAR, California Association of Realtors. When you join the local forum, you automatically become California and national member. So this is where all our forms are with California. So just gonna log in here in a second. Oh, actually, you can look right. So I have, I share, if when we meet for our, technology appointment, I'm gonna get you set up, on my shared folder. And in my shared folder, I have all kinds of contracts and stuff. So here I have a buyer and tenant representation. So this is the brand new August 2024 buyer representation. Open this up. On the new buyer rep agreement, it says here that what is the representation period? It starts today and then you add 3 months. So it says not to exceed 3 months. If representation period exceeds 3 months, this agreement is void. Unless buyer is a corporation, LLC, or partnership. Is your buyer a corporation, LLC, or partnership? No. So then, yes, it can only be 3 months. And then you would use a form called modification of terms, buyer representation. So it's modification of terms. And then it's just an extension. So I'll show you real quick.
So a lot of that process is usually longer than 3 months.
Hopefully not. Hopefully you get your buyer to buy something right away. So why did the question is, why did CR make it 3 months? It used to be a year, or 2 years, you're right?
Well,
So why did they make it 3 months? And they purposely did it because they were afraid that buyers are signing something that they don't know what they're signing. So they wanted the buyers to have, if they were to sign it and not know what they were signing, then they just wanted to make sure they could get out of it. So they're-
3 months and get nothing, you go with somebody else.
Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna look for modification of terms. Modification. Modification of terms by representation. Yeah, so I have it here somewhere.
And you just change the date.
Here it is. So modification of terms buyer rep agreement. This is for the buyer rep agreements that are July 24. So you can change the expiration date, very easy.
Great.
All you do is put a new one here. Any renewal of a buyer broker agreement may not last longer than 3 months from the date of this modification. So if you sent it 5 days before, technically this is saying you're gonna lose 5 days. Unless you send this the day of expiration. Right? If you send it 5 days before expiration, it says may not last longer than 3 months from the date of this modification.
Oh, it's not from when they sign it.
It's not from when they sign, it's from the date of this modification.
Yeah.
So if the renewal exceeds 3 months, this modification is void.
For 3 more months in this one modification, right?
3 more months, but
Yeah.
ensure that you're not asking for more than 3 months.
Right.
Okay,
Well, you can't. It says right there, 3 months.
well, you can, but it'll be void. So just don't do it.
Is this doing it instead of an extension?
This is an extension. This is an extension. I want to also point out, as long as we're here and talking about this form, that you have the ability to use this form to change the compensation amount. Do not use this form to change the compensation amount going up. Only use it to go down. If you, let's say, so what I'm saying is, let's say you have a buyer rep agreement signed for 2.5%. Okay, that's your buyer rep agreement, 2.5. And then another agent says, we're advertising 4% to a buyer's agent that can get a deal done this month. You can get an offer this month, an accepted offer, we'll give 4% to you. Don't use this form to change the compensation to 4%. Sign a brand new buyer rep agreement for 4%. And the reason is that we had an attorney here and she was saying just a couple weeks ago, there's gonna be probably future class action lawsuits from buyers that signed this form going up and woke up 3 years from now saying, why did I sign it? Why did I agree to raise the commission to my buyer's agent? I signed a 2.5 with my buyer's agent, and then he sent me a modification to raise it to 4. Now I'm the one that financed that 4% in my 30-year fixed loan. You understand? Because the buyer's making an offer, but the seller is saying 4%. The buyer's the one really paying for it.
Yeah.
All the money comes from the buyer. So 3-4 years from now, there could be postcards that go out to everyone's door and
They're
say,
pretty much not trying to pay any money.
if you know how you get these postcards in the mail that say class action lawsuit,
Yeah.
there could be a postcard that comes in the mail. If you were involved in a purchase transaction and your broker asked you to sign a modification of terms to raise your commission,
Hallelujah.
you're automatically,
Yeah.
so that's the current fear. So if you have an agent that's offering you more, don't use this form. Get a new buyer rep agreement.
Agent, I mean, Yes, I'm a stupid question. I mean, when you buy a new property, you pay the new property tax. Let's say that's from 4,000,
Correct.
you pay maybe 15,000. Isn't it discrimination? I mean, people don't have the right to sue the government. And why you have is discrimination?
Any buyer,
You buy the new property, the same
any
property,
buyer that buys the property,
you pay the new
there's
property
gonna be a
tax.
new property tax.
Which is, I mean,
That's
it's not this
no, if you buy a property, your property tax is based upon the purchase price.
based on the purchase price.
It's based on the new appraisal.
Oh, you appraise?
Yeah,
It's based on the purchase price.
which is based on an appraisal.
The assessor can have their own appraisal if they want.
Yeah,
to.
the assessor, not,
But it's generally gonna be based on the purchase
yeah,
price.
based on that.
If the assessor doesn't agree with the price that's reflected, they could have their own number.
Yeah, but that's 5-10% difference.
Yeah, so they have the vote to say.
I mean, it's really hard to fight the
Yeah.
assessor.
I know, I'm just saying that everybody's suing, why can't we sue the state saying that? I mean,
So here's what I've seen this happen. You have two people. They want to buy each other's property.
Uh-huh.
Right? This
Yeah.
person owns this house, this person owns this house.
right.
They want to buy each other's property.
Right.
So what do they care about the purchase price? They don't care.
Yeah.
I mean,
The identical property.
they're trading
Paying the
properties
taxes,
and they're only paying each other for the balance of who has the more expensive property.
but the net profits.
They both want the purchase price to be low
Right,
because of the taxes,
yes,
you know, so.
yeah.
Now, if the assessor sees a $5 million property, he sold for 3 million, they're not gonna agree with that. They're gonna put their own assessment on it.
Oh,
And then
you can't sell your property for 2 million, assuming that the assessor will accept that.
the assessor's not gonna accept it, right?
Oh, assessor is gonna.
Can I put it like on the sale price be lower, that I transfer the property at a lower price, but even though I charge the buyer more money just so I can not pay the taxes? You get me?
So anything, I don't understand what this.
You know how when you sell your property,
Yeah,
when you sell it, if it made money, if there was a profit, you had to pay property taxes on that, right? On all the profit,
income tax,
correct, on the profit that you made from
income tax,
when you bought it to
yes,
price that's now, right?
yes.
So you think we can like kind of like sell the property at a lower price so we don't have to pay high property taxes when we get rid of the property?
Is the seller willing to sell for a lesser price?
But like just on paper, but he's gonna.
No.
Okay, so when you start talking about just on paper, when you start talking about stuff like that, that's
That's a lot of money.
what's actually happening
Yeah.
is you're cheating the government.
Yes.
They shouldn't get
You
it.
go to jail.
That's. We don't want to do that.
Yeah,
I don't want to assist anyone in this.
it's true. I wouldn't.
So,
let anyone.
Don't lose your license for one deal,
Yeah,
because then you've lost your entire income earning potential in this business,
it's true,
right? So
Yeah.
there's gonna be a lot of you that, look, this is Beverly Hills.
Yes.
People are gonna be saying, take this bag of cash, right? You as the listing agent, you have a listing in the flats for $7 million,
Mm,
right? And everyone wants this property. And you get a buyer that says to you, take this bag of $500,000, get the seller to accept my offer for 5 million. And all these people are trying to call you and put offers in. And this buyer comes to you with $500,000, they want it for 5. I'll give you this $500,000 if you can get your buyer to accept my $5 million offer. That's happened to me several times. Not in those amounts, but right?
yeah.
You can't do it. Like, you're not gonna jeopardize on that one deal your entire future license. Don't do it.
That's fraud.
That's fraud.
That to me sounds like they're gonna be paying these.
We should
funds.
engage.
Now, you can take that $500,000 if the seller knows about it. Then you're allowed,
Yeah,
as long as the seller knows.
yeah, I just feel like if I sell my property, I wouldn't wanna pay. I wouldn't wanna pay high taxes, especially if when I bought it, it was very low price, and then now when you selling it, the amount.
So now you have to think about it. Whenever you record a lower price, when you sell, you're gonna have to pay income tax or capital gain.
That's what I'm saying, so how would you avoid that, you know?
The tax attorney,
Yeah, I mean,
So, but what if it's not a family member? That's what I'm saying. I can just say they're like a family member or it's like a gift to them or something like that.
so now you're talking about tax planning and
It says,
we can't really get into that.
Yeah,
I did-
but trust.
I do a lawyer who can put you to jail for that, you know.
Yeah, trust attorney.
Let's look at the calendar. So today is the 23rd. Okay, so tomorrow is Tuesday. Tomorrow is open house day. So in residential, we have open house from 11 to 2 on Tuesdays. If you guys want to do commercial, there's a commercial meeting tomorrow at 9:30. And then at 3 PM is our all agent town hall. So everyone is invited to 3 PM. Either it's gonna be an all agent town hall with Josh Spitzett, or it's gonna be an alternating Tuesdays, it's gonna be our broker, Michael Rosales.
Oh,
I think it's Rosales estate.
Tomorrow, I don't know,
Rosales, okay.
it says all agent town hall for tomorrow, I don't know. And then Wednesday, I am going to be doing. So I'll be doing your sphere, so we'll be talking about worker sphere, how to get business out of people you already know.
Huh.
And then my class at 11 will be escrow, title, and lender. So I'll be doing that at 11. Thursday, there won't be class because we have bowl going on. I think Thursday is the last bowl. And then Friday, yeah, and then I have a tech tip class at 11:15 on Friday, and I'll be, so Friday I'll be going over smart plans. How to get your buyers on automatic contact.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
All right, happy Monday, everybody.
Okay.
Samantha. Oh.
JJ, question. JJ,
That's even native.
Well, actually, that's coming from Alabama.
Oh,
yeah, I'll see you later.
I'll call you shortly, guys.
okay.
You're gonna say that it costs so much money. Can be holding the heat to get the